So the first we should know about the Docker Hub. Docker Hub is basically the repository to place your Docker images, right? So just hit on the dockerhub.com, right? If you do not have any account, then you'll have to create it. Just sign up your account with your Gmail ID, and you are all done with that. So give your click on sign up, give your Docker ID, your email, your password, and sign up, right? So I already have my account, so I will quickly log into this account, right? And we'll sign in here. So the first thing we need to understand, guys, about the Docker images. I'll talk about the Docker container later on, right? So what is a Docker image, right? The Docker image basically is a small piece of software, you can say, which consists your OS layer, which consists your application runtime, right, as well as required dependencies and some libraries. When I talk about OS, it may be CentOS, Linux. When I talk about the runtime, it may have Java, it may have Apache Tomcat, it may have JBoss, anything. So let's say, guys, I am going to get one image of Apache Tomcat, right? So the first task for you to understand Docker, and you should be taking the smaller size image in the Docker, because once you will deploy something on that, the size of the Docker will increase, right? So let's search for one image which is called the Tomcat. So I am just searching for the public images here, and you have to take care of the things also. If you see, this is the Tomcat image, and which is the official image, which has 10 million plus downloads and 2.7 star, right? In the same way, if you come down, we have some another images which is also official images and this much of stars, right? So here you will see multiple public images which has been shared here, either by the Docker Hub itself or some of the community people who are working, because anything you are pushing here which is public, until and unless you do not take the private repository here, right? So let's say I will take this image here, right? So just click on this this Tomcat image, and understand what this Tomcat image has and what is the size of this image. If you see, the size of this image is 100 MB, right? And it basically supports Linux 386, PowerPC, IBM Chad, and these much of infrastructure as application. And this is the official image of Tomcat, and this is, listen to me, guys, this is only 100 MB, which has your OS, it has your Apache Tomcat, it has your Java.
Size for the number of downloads.
So you can go to tag section here. From this tag section you can see with which version of the Java you are going. So you can give like docker pull tomcat this tag, right? And you see the compressed size here. So this is the specific size of each image here, right? You can choose which of the tag you are going to use. So let's quickly jump into the installation of Docker engine in the system. So I have one machine here which is Linux, which is CentOS machine in Google Cloud, right? And this is the CentOS release 7.1 core. So you will need a couple of things to install it. If this is the cloud, you will see most of the repository will be available, so you can go ahead and do docker yum install docker. So I have just installed it, so that's what it is showing, it's already installed, right? And next you just need to start it. Systemctl start docker. So You can check the status if Docker is working fine. So you can see the Docker engine has been successfully installed and running, and you can see how this smaller size of this would be. So I'm going to enable this as well for, you know, in the runtime, if my system gets reboot, then it should come automatically. Right. If you are having some issue in the installation, so you can go to the official guide installing Docker in RHEL 7 anything. So by default those things will be available in the repo, but you can jump to the, you know, we have two kind of Dockers available. First is community edition and the second is enterprise edition, right? Even you have to think about it. So most basically here we will be using the commercial community edition. So you can go here, right? You can, which repository you need, by rum repository, RPM, so everything will be available here. So all the prerequisites, what we need to do, right? And if you want to change the storage and something like that, so everything is here. So you can get the repo from here and follow the instruction, right? If you are having some issue with the, if you are going to do installation in the local system, so if you need the repository, so you can go here. Here is the repo detail for RHEL 7 and RHEL 6, right? So everything is here available for you, right? So I'll quickly put it in the chat. If you know, if you are going with the RHEL, then make sure you follow it, right? So now, as we have done with the Docker engine installation, right, and if I see here Docker PS, I have nothing here. I have not launched any container, and there is no container or image available in my system. If I want to check my images, Docker images, you will see I have no images at this moment, right? So first task for us was to find which image you need as per your requirement. Let's say you want the latest image, right? So what you need to do is just need to copy this URL from here, right? Also what you can do is you can directly search it here also, Docker search Tomcat. So it will pull if there is any, you know, Docker image, Tomcat image available in the Docker Hub. So by default it will try to check if you have any private repository inside your network. If it doesn't find, so it will directly go to the Docker Hub and pull these images for you. So you can also see the images list from here, right? So what I'm going to do is at this moment, so I'm just going to use the latest one here. So I will go ahead and do Docker pull and Tomcat. So this will be pulling image quickly for me, so this will not take much time. So you can see the image has been pulled successfully, and now if you do Docker PS, there is still no container there, but let's go ahead and see images, right? You will see one image has been pulled here, right? The size of this image is 529 MB. This means you have OS inside it, you have Java inside it, and your Tomcat is also installed on this, right? Again, if you are looking at with some different tags, right? Let's say you do not want the latest one and you are looking for some Tomcat 8 here. Let me see if this is available here. Let's say you want this Tomcat 8 here, right? So what you can do is, even you can see here tags available, so otherwise you can directly copy this tag as well and take this tag from here, right? And with this Docker pull, you can do colon and put this tag here. So this is going to pull this tag from here. Now you can see. So let's again try with Docker images. So you can see the another image has been downloaded here with this tag, right? So I will just remove this this image at this moment. I don't need this. I'll remove it forcefully. So I'll go with the latest one so that you do not get confused here. So now I have one image only, right? Now the time for me to launch one container with this image, or you can say a small VM from this image, right? So which is called the container. So what I need to do is, so if you want to test it first, right, if everything is working fine in your image, you can do docker exec, or you can do docker run -it, and you can give your image id or your the repository name here. So let's say I'm gonna go for a best practice, I'm gonna use this image id here, let's say. So what I'm doing is, first I am running the interactive mode to validate my image. If everything is fine with this image, is it getting started properly or not? See, you can see this image is getting started properly. I don't see, you can see your application is up and running with one quick hit. So what will happen with this, as soon as you do Control-C, right, your container will gone, right? The container is not running. So whenever you want to test your image, right, whether this image is fine or not, what you have to do is you have to run this command, which is called the docker run it and your image name. This will tell you if there is any error in your image. So this will be helpful for you so many times if you are working in any of the issues. So having said this, so the first task for me to run this image in the background so that it keep on running. So what I need to do for this is I need to do docker run -d. D is called the detach mode, right? And the second is you have to give the ports also. Now if guys I go to my official image, right, if I go to the instructions here, so let's go to the description. So it will give you the instruction also how you can use this image with these tags and references, how you are going to use this image. All the instruction would be available here for you if you need. By default you can see this image is running in 8080 because the Tomcat runs on 8080, right? So what I'm gonna do here first, right, it says docker run -d, which is called the detach mode, right? And if you do not specify any port, let's say --name equals to, I will call it app1, right, and the image name. So let's hit enter. So what happens here, I have launched one container, or we can say a small VM here. If you do docker ps, you'll be able to see one container is running. Do you see how quickly the container run and your application is up and running? And the name of this container is this, and the application is running on port 8080, right? Now if I go inside this docker exec -it to just log into the container, right, your container name, your container id, you can give anything. So I'm giving here container id, you can give the container name also, which is app1, right, and bash here, whatever this shell you have, whether it is bash, whether it is sh. So you can see this is the location where your Tomcat is installed, right, which is up and running, right? Let me see if curl is available here. Curl http localhost 8080, right? You can see your Tomcat is running. I think this is giving me some 40 not found issue, but you can see the Apache Tomcat is running here. I think I should have curl -i or c. So you can see this is giving me the 4040, but yep, the Apache Tomcat is up and running. But the issue would be here. Now let's quickly navigate to the command, right? What I did here is I did not open any port at this moment, which is the issue for me. My application will not be accessible from outside. But if I do docker inspect and get the container IP, let's say container ID and pipegraph-i IPADDR. So the IP of my container is 172.17.0.2. So now let's do e-link here if available. E-link is not available, so let's quickly install it. So do you see guys, your container is running, but there is some 404 issue. We'll have to see it. Why this 404 issue? There may be some image issue. It says the description, the origin server did not find the current representation of the target resource, or it is not waiting to disclose that one exists. Okay, that's fine for us, no issue, right? But the issue comes here is you will not be able to access this application from outside. So in that case, what we'll have to do is we'll have to open the ports. We will be discussing about it later on. So
No, sir.
here what we was doing guys is we did not open the port at this moment. So even if we want to access it from my IP or from my public IP address, so it will not be accessible for me, right? So to expose your application outside, what you need to do is you'll have to bind the ports. So I will show you also how to start stop the container. If you want to stop your container, you can do stop. You can give the name or you can give the container ID. So I will give the name at this moment, app1, right? If you see the docker ps now, your container is stopped, right? And if you want to start this container again, I will call it start app1 and your container is quick up. Do you see how quick the docker is, right? Within a snap of finger your application is up and running, your Tomcat is up and running, right? Your application is up and running, right? And if you want to delete this, you can do docker rm-f. If you are going to delete the container forcefully, you can do rm-f. Now if you do docker ps, you will see the container is not there. And if you see in the docker ps-a, which help us to show you your stop container, right? You can see one of the container which we started initially, right? This is that container. Let me remove this also. Right, so the next I am going to tell you is how to bind the ports so that my container will be accessible from outside. So docker run -d. D is basically in the detach mode. Your container will run in the background. I will call it -port. Let's say I am saying my 8080 port of my system. This is my system port, this is my machine port, and I'm binding this with my container port. I mean, inside the image, my application is running on 8080 port. That's what I have given host port and the container port, right? Space hyphen name, what name you wants to give to your container. Let's say I will call it app1, right? And you can give your image ID here. Now if you do guys docker ps, you will see now the ports open for all the IP in your system, and the port is 8080. This 8080 port is your host port, and this port is redirected to your 8080 of your machine, right? Now let's verify this with your IP of this machine. So you can see this is the image issue, right? But your application is accessible anyhow, your Tomcat is accessible. And let's say if you want to access it from outside, so let me pull my Google console. So let me take my public IP here. I'm not sure if my port is open, so I'll have to see that also. I think port is not open. So you can see now the port is open, but still I can see the 404 not found. This is the image issue, right? So now your application will be accessible from outside also if you bind your ports.